Van life can be more affordable than traditional living. It all starts with a plan and a budget. Find out how you can live a life of freedom and adventure on a budget. When transitioning to van life, it's easy to be in the vacation spending mindset. Also, how you live van life is different than how someone else will live van life. A personalized budget will help you stay on track. There are several factors that impact your budget. Things like where you are within the country, how and where you camp, how much you drive, if you eat out often or make your own meals, and what activities you do along the way. As a full-time van lifer, you no longer have a mortgage or rent, utility payments, but you still have living expenses to account for. Let's talk about van-specific expenses. To start off with, do you own your van or do you have a vehicle payment? How old is your van? Do you need to set aside money for mechanical repairs? This is a good category to consider regardless of the age of your van, but if your van is older, this may be a larger budget item. Likely, your biggest expense will be gas. How fast or slow you travel, and what part of the country you travel will help you determine this budget amount. As with any vehicle, you have to have regular oil changes. Depending on your average mileage, the timing of this expense can vary. Insurance for your van will vary depending on your driving record, type of van, state, claim history, and insurance company. Depending on the type of travel you do, you may have expenses for tolls or parking, so don't forget to add those. A roadside assistance plan like AAA is highly recommended when living van life. Many insurance carriers can add this to your insurance policy. We all have to eat, right? Make separate categories for groceries and eating out. If you need to make adjustments to your budget, it will help to know those expenses separately. If you cook, you will likely use propane or butane for your camp stove. If you cook regularly, you may want to include this in your food category. A lot of van lifers spend regular time at coffee shops or breweries as a way to connect to the internet or socialize. This is a category you might want to keep separate as well. How do you keep your food cold? If you use a cooler with ice, that can add up and deserves its own category. One of the best things about having a camper van is that you have your bedroom right behind you. Unless you rely solely on free parking and free camping, you will occasionally have expenses in the accommodations category. Now for personal expenses. Showers. There are a lot of places you can shower while on the road. Some places cost a few bucks to use as the shower. Maybe you use a gym, so you would have a gym membership here. Then there are expenses like laundry, phone bill, internet, health insurance, medical expenses and prescriptions, and maybe you have pet expenses like grooming, a pet wash, or pet food. There are a lot of miscellaneous things that don't fall into a specific category, but are things that can add up, and you may choose to include these items within your budget. Things like hygiene, toilet paper, toilet bags and pee powder, mail service, batteries, haircuts, clothing, entertainment and activities expenses. There is a lot of sightseeing and touring that is completely free. But do you like to visit museums and art galleries or other attractions that charge an entrance fee? What about entrance fees to state and national parks? Do you regularly rent kayaks or paddle boards? In this category, you might also include digital subscriptions like Hulu, Netflix, or Audible. Lastly, we don't want to forget some of those expenses that come up over time. Preventative maintenance costs for your vehicle, tire rotations, annual registration costs based on the state you have your van registered in, new vehicle batteries, new tires. This can come up more often depending on your travel frequency. And then other unexpected costs. Somewhere within your budget, you need to account for these items that are not regular expenses. You'll need to make adjustments to your budget along the way. Van life is all about flexibility, and your budget should be too. It isn't just about saving money. It's about making deliberate choices and prioritizing your spending, finding ways to save, and being mindful of your expenses. If you want a copy of my budget that you can edit for yourself, you'll find a link for it in the description. You'll also have the opportunity to sign up for my email newsletter. I share my actual budget number